Hello, I am here talking with mayoral candidates of Edmonton. For today's candidate, I am very lucky to have Diana Steele. Hello, Diana, and thank you so much for being here with me today.
Hi, Sophia. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk to you today.
I'm really glad that you decided to come here and speak with me today. I'm really glad. So before we go into the nitty-gritty kind of questions, I love quotes and I think that they really show how a person is and who they are. And I was really curious to know, what's your favorite quote and why?
Right now, my favorite quote, I love quotes as well, but they change with the situation I'm in, I suppose. So right now, I'm a big fan of Brene Brown's quote, if you're not in the arena also getting your ass kicked, I'm not interested in your feedback.
Yeah.
My current favorite quote, I love it because especially when you're running for a position in politics, you do find yourself getting a lot of information, a lot of advice from people who are not living in the moment. And so it's a quote that I keep very close to my in my mind right now to refer back to whenever I feel a little bit stressed. I think you are also not in the arena right now, so maybe just remember that.
Yeah, that's a really good quote. I really enjoy that. Yeah, actually, before this, when I was going over my questions, I saw it and I was like, what quote do I like right now? And I decided that I really, for some reason, popped up in my head. I thought of some people, they get wet from the rain, other people feel the rain. And I was like, I really like that one. It just popped up in my mind randomly. But that Brene Brown is amazing. That's a really good quote.
Yeah, she's really great. Yeah.
Yeah, so now going to the more nitty-gritty kind of questions.
Yeah.
What message do you want people to get from your candidacy and then ultimately your mayorship?
Well, what I hope to let everyone know is that you don't have to be a political science student or a political science graduate or a politician for that matter to run for mayor. I am someone who's been dedicated to my community for 6 years. I've been living and breathing, my dedication there, but I've never been a politician. I wouldn't consider myself a politician at all. I think I'm someone who is a huge fan of innovation and technology, and I want the city to be successful. I think I'm truly a public servant at heart. I'm inclusive, I'm kind, I'm calm, I'm patient, I'm collaborative. And so I found myself thinking, who better than someone with those personality traits than to run for mayor of Edmonton? I think that's a skill set that I definitely would want to see in a mayor. So I thought, well, step up then. And run for mayor, Diana.
That's really neat. Whoa, yeah.
And what I hope people get from it, is that it's a good chance. And I tried to change the game. I'm running my campaign differently than a lot of candidates are running their campaigns, or even differently than it's been done for hundreds of years, really. And I went in to change the game. I hope I changed the game. And I hope at the end of the day, people can look at it and say, okay, we had a community member run for mayor. She won. She did it spending way less money than anyone else and also being a lot greener for the environment. So.
That's really cool. That's a really neat story. And yeah, those are good qualities that are good to have for a mayor. I mean, I definitely want somebody that could work with others and is kind and compassionate. So that's really cool. It's cool that you just stepped up and did it. So that's really a neat story. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so now going into more of plans for helping Edmonton, what kind of economic recovery plan do you have for Edmonton or for this city?
Well, recognizing that we are in a difficult situation because we are in COVID and we do have a pandemic happening, my big push is to shop local, because the more we keep money within the city, obviously the more businesses that will survive and won't hopefully suffer too much and will hopefully have to close. And a big push for innovation and technology and creativity. There's young people like yourself who are, they've got so many great ideas, maybe aren't taken as seriously as they should be. I want you guys to stay in the city. I don't want you to leave Edmonton. We need you here. You're the future. Your ideas are wonderful. They're always outside the box. They're creative. I have two boys. One is 13 and one is 10. And my 10-year-old, and the ideas he comes up with, I think, you know, I want to say, no, what are you thinking? That's never going to work. And then I stop myself and go, wait a minute, don't kill his innovation and his creativity. Who knows? It could be the next big, most successful idea out there. So that's how I would try to focus on Edmonton right now is a push for shopping local and a push for innovation and creativity and technology here.
That is amazing. Those are all things that I love. And yeah, that's like, heck, you already answered one of my questions. Like, because I am one of the youth in this city. I am curious if the city will help support me in growing, and if they'll help with opportunities for me to stay here and want to stay here. So yeah, that was one of my questions of like, how are you going to help keep youth in this city? And also, I just love innovation. I love STEM. I love creating things, have for a very long time. So I'm really glad that those are your values. That's really neat. So I guess, yeah. Do you have any ideas of, because literally those are my two questions, because I just love innovation and like opportunities and helping youth. So that's really neat. So what supports and resources will you help or restore to help our residents with mental illnesses and addictions?
Yeah, so that's part of my platform. If you've taken a look at my platform, I think education, first of all, is a big proponent of making sure everybody we're living in an inclusive city. We need to understand mental health. We need to understand drug addiction. We need to understand what's happening with racism, things like that. So education, community involvement. The more someone feels like a community, the more they feel like they can reach out and ask for help. So community leagues need to play a bigger role, I think, in Edmonton here. Sports and rec centers, because we know that the more connected people are to a physical activity or a team, the less likely they are to feel alone and stranded and turn to drugs or alcohol. And community gardens is another one. Getting outside and being part of nature, but also being with other people, which hopefully one day will happen again, post COVID.
Yeah.
And just feeling like part of a community. I've been part of a community for 6 years, and I mean, I've been part of a community for longer than that, but I've been involved in making sure people feel like part of a community for 6 years, and I see how it can change someone's life. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's neat. Yeah, my mom is super involved in our little neighborhood, and she's part of the community gardens, and like me and my brother will help out sometimes with planting vegetables. It is fun to be outside, and then once you're outside you realize, hey, it's actually fun being outside, and it does lift your mood. And yeah, there have been studies that have shown that going outside and taking a walk does boost your mood and help like with morale and everything. So that's, yeah, really neat. I like that perspective on things. Yeah, so now a question about, also I guess could be economic recovery plan, but just in general, like more focused on a topic of how are you planning on helping creating jobs in Edmonton so that the city can prosper?
It's difficult for us right now to rely on the provincial and the federal government just because their finances are tight, just like our finances are tight. I've heard a lot of people starting to talk about how does Edmonton become successful without relying so much on the provincial and the federal government. So finding a way to kind of close ranks, so to speak, keep things in the city as much as we can so that we can develop successful businesses here, which then turn around and stimulate the economy. We then have people hiring. Then that turns into projects being built and created in the city, which turns into more jobs. Just trying to find a way to become self-sufficient here in Edmonton. We have to take care of ourselves right now. I mean, lots of cities in all over the world right now are looking inward and finding ways to protect themselves because this pandemic really did hurt everyone. And what I found too is there's this sort of beautiful symbiotic relationship between successful businesses turn around and help the community. So the more successful businesses are, the more successful the community becomes, because I know, for example, we've got a lovely local business here in Crestwood. The gentleman who owns it, he provides food for the Pilgrims Hospice. He provides food for Candy Cane Lane. But when times are tough, it's difficult for him to do that because he doesn't have the resources and he's got to, protect the staff and himself, obviously. But when he is thriving and successful pre-COVID, he was always the first person to step up and help these local community not-for-profits, right? So I see this all the time, and I find myself thinking we need to focus on getting businesses up and running and successful again so they can in turn help the community.
Yeah, it's definitely important. Yeah, all businesses and creating jobs is a really important part of just a city, because then they grow and then they can help other businesses. And yeah, it just really helps with like the kind of vibe or feeling that you get from a city. So that's really neat, and I'm glad that you really like supporting local businesses. Me and my family love that, and we love going to local cafes and adventuring out. We actually got something called a coffee card that my mom got for Christmas. We've been going around to cafes and things, and yeah, it's like been like a scavenger hunt in a way, and we've been able to find some really good cafes. Like, I don't exactly know how to say this, but it's like Cafe Soul or something. And we've loved that, and it's been delicious, and we love their food and their drinks. And if you like somewhere's food and drinks, then you know that they're special. So yeah, I love that you love supporting local. And to end with a fun little question before we end off, do you have any children or do you have any pets?
I have 2 boys. They're 11 and 13, but no pets, although they are asking for a dog.
I'm 12, and like I've been asking for a dog forever, and like luckily I was able to get a dog at the beginning of the pandemic, and he's a tiny little thing, but to be honest, he's a cat with like mixed with a bunny, but like he's still a dog, and we call him a dog, so he's a dog. And I've loved having pets, and it's cool that you have kids. That's really neat, and it's interesting that they're around my age. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, well, you're a very impressive girl for 12 years old. So
thank you. Yeah, again, why I'm so curious about how you're going to help youth, and I'm excited to see when you become mayor, and if you become mayor, how you're going to help the city.
Well, I am too, and I certainly have the best intentions. So, and I'm going to keep my eye on you because I want to see where you're going to end up. So.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for letting me interview you. And I, of course, wish you the best of luck with your candidacy. And I really hope that you have the best of luck with whatever you do next.
Thank you, Sophia.